I read the devil books again just for you to create this video.
Oh, scary! Oh, shiver my timbers!
So who are the devils in Black Clover? Devils are an ancient race of magical and evil beings that dwell in the underworld of Black Clover. In chapter 268, we were shown Asta's brother's backstory. His name is Liber, and he told us that it's a harsh world where the devil's amusement comes from tormenting each other, but the greatest of fun that they have is toying with the humans of the living world. In normal circumstances, devils cannot appear in the living world on their own. Again, in chapter 268, we can see a gate-like barrier that kills them if they attempt to go through it to go to the living world. For example, when Liber was thrown towards the gate by a higher ranked demon bullying him, he expected to die and splatter. However, because Liber was manaless, it meant he was able to go straight through to the human world. So since they can't leave the underworld through normal means, another way is a mage in the living world using forbidden magic and a sacrifice to summon a devil and use some of its power revealed to us in chapter 222. However, the amount of devil power a person can use is limited due to the gate between the living world and the underworld being closed. For example, Dante was limited to use 80% of Lucifer's power rather than 100%. Furthermore, using forbidden magic also limits a mage on how they can wield devil power, because if you use too much, then you will be tarnished by Weg, which Julius mentioned to Sekri. That's why she transformed into a bird for several hundred years, or Licht losing control as the demon god against Lumiere, the first Wizard King. The user becomes something they formerly were not. In chapter 198, according to Zagrid, a high-ranked demon, devils cannot wield or enter a grimoire until it has a 5-leaf clover. Once they have a grimoire and a physical body, they can unleash their true forms and power in the living world. It's most likely that Zagrid was summoned from the underworld in his ghastly state via a ritual through a sacrifice or a spell that went wrong, much like how Nacht tried to summon Lucifero, and that went wrong due to the sheer presence and the magic being too much. Zagrid could have defeated the person that summoned him, or someone must have tried to seek power via his totem, which would then cause him to be released from the underworld without a body. Now, before I go even further into explaining every single devil, I have to first explain the Tree of Qliphoth spell, as this is linked to every single devil as another way that they can escape the underworld. The number one objective of the Dark Triad is the recreation of the Tree of Qliphoth channel. This magic channel acts as the route between the underworld and earth. At each level of the channel is a gate that stops other devils moving between each level. 10 devils are spread throughout the levels, and as each gate to their level is opened, they are released into the human world. The lower down the gate you get, the stronger the devil that comes out. And this is why the Dark Triad aims to open the gate. In order to do so, they require 2 key components in order to do the ritual known as the Qliphoth Advent ritual. The first one is a magic circle combining world tree magic and dark magic. The dark magic from Yami is necessary to carry the power through to the underworld, dyeing William's world tree magic black. Secondly, a larger magic circle is needed with the 3 mages standing around it, acting as a catalyst for the ritual. By the end of the ritual, which takes a week until it reaches completion, Yami and William ultimately die as sacrifices. Once before in history, the Tree of Qliphoth had been opened, causing complete destruction across an entire continent, massacring 90% of human population. Lola Pachika inherited this memory from the former Heart Kingdom queen, and Morris is using this same information extracted from her. He discovered a way to speed up the process of the gates opening. Once the first gate to the underworld has opened, the Dark Triad gain access to 100% of their devil powers. Black Clover chapter 246 text confirms that the Tree of Life is connected to the concept of the Jewish Kabbalah, as the counterpart is called the Tree of Death. Comparing the designs side by side, you can see that Tabata took this illustration from the Kabbalah. One heavy aspect of the Kabbalah is the depiction of both light and darkness as necessary aspects of the world system. So when Dante explains the plan to Yami, we see the concept of the Tree of Death, which in Kabbalah translates to the Qliphoth. Qliphoth means the emanations of the left side, and it's a way to describe evil that oppose the Sephiroth. These shells or husks are representations of evil or impure spiritual forces in Jewish mysticism. They are the opposite of the holy Sephiroth, which Black Clover used as elves. The realm of evil is also termed Sitra or Ahra, or the other side, which confirms why the word magic devil Zagrid called his magic otherworldly and kept talking in that manner, because Tabata got inspired from this concept. The Qliphoth are metaphorical shells surrounding holiness that obscure the divine light of the Sephiroth. The Qliphoth are represented by demons who live in what they call the palaces of impurity. Whilst the Qliphoth are seen as evil, they are a necessary aspect of creation. Without something obscuring the full light of God, it would overwhelm reality, and reality as we know it would actually cease to exist. This explains why the Dark Triad and Dante say to Asta, Yami, and pretty much everyone that he believes evil emotions are part of being human, and that being evil is a necessary part of life and the purest of emotion. Lucifer and the Dark Triad are playing the role of the Qliphoth concept within Black Clover, as he represents the polar opposite of the 10 apostles of Sephiroth. In the Satanic Temple of the Black Light, it depicts the Sephiroth as restrictive and the Qliphoth as liberating, saying that they are a process of freeing yourself from the forces of the Sephiroth. They are breaking off from the universal order as acceptable. Now again, this is why the Dark Triad and every villain linked with devils are playing this role accordingly in the story regarding the restrictive nature of Asta's ideology of what he can actually become if he gives in to his evil emotions, as he stated to Dante that being a good person means striving to suppress your negativity. Whilst the Qliphoth are seen as evil, they are a necessary aspect of creation. Without something obscuring the full light of God, it would overwhelm reality, and reality as we know it would actually cease to exist. This explains why the Dark Triad and Dante say to Asta, Yami, and pretty much everyone that he believes evil emotions are part of being human, and that being evil is a necessary part of life and the purest of emotion. Lucifer and the Dark Triad are playing the role of the Qliphoth concept within Black Clover, as he represents the polar opposite of the 10 apostles of Sephiroth. In the Satanic Temple of the Black Light, it depicts the Sephiroth as restrictive and the Qliphoth as liberating, saying that they are a process of freeing yourself from the forces of the Sephiroth. They are breaking off from the universal order as acceptable. Now again, this is why the Dark Triad and every villain linked with devils are playing this role accordingly in the story regarding the restrictive nature of Asta's ideology of what he can actually become if he gives in to his evil emotions, as he stated to Dante that being a good person means striving to suppress your negativity. Now, since you can summon a devil or encounter one, you can perform a devil binding ritual on them. In this ritual, you have to fight and subjugate the devil in order to make a formal contract with it to use its power as your own. The connection is created through a relic or totem linked to the devil. For example, Nacht has a necklace which has 4 different relics linked to his 4 different devils. One is a feather for the bird type. So through this connection, if the relic is destroyed during the ritual, then the spell will end prematurely and the devil will be sent back to the underworld. If the host wins the fight whilst doing the ritual, the devil's neck is bound and staked to the floor, and at that time the host is free to make any contract they desire with the devil, including total subjugation. This would give them full command of the devil's power. The host can easily use the Unite transformation, a special form available to hosts since they can use the full power of the devil and assimilate them into their body in a fusion. This fusion enables them to contain and control the power of the devil and dramatically increase their own magic power and capabilities. If you use Unite, since it's part of Weg magic, you will take on the physical traits of the devil, such as their horns, in more powerful Unite mode. Nacht performed this against Anama and Lilith, which increased his power level equal to a high-ranked devil like Zagrid. On the other hand, since Asta and his brother Liber formed a contract of equals, which has never been done before, this contract makes it so that the devil retains autonomy. With this contract, both parties receive matching markings on their wrists of the host and the devil. With this unique contract, of course, activating the Unite mode is more difficult as it requires the host and the devil to work together and synchronize their thoughts and feelings. Asta and Liber were able to achieve this by thinking about their love for their mother Lasita and also wanting to save the world by destroying the devils that threaten the safety of others. Now don't get me wrong, if you're not a shonen protagonist, let's move on to how devils can be defeated in Black Clover, since pretty much all of them have died. We are told by the story that the only ways to counter devil magic are with anti-magic, negative mana, arcane stage magic, saint stage magic, and other devil magic. A devil's heart is its most vital body part. As long as the heart remains intact, the devil could eventually recover, even if the rest of its body is destroyed, as we've seen with Zagrid and Xenon. The heart is also the most resilient part of the devil, with high-ranking devil's hearts surviving ultimate magic attacks seen in chapter 207, where Zagrid's heart survived Lich's Aeon attack, which took mana from himself and all the other elves combined, but he still survived. Even Xenon's heart tanked offensive spatial magic in chapter 308, where it's stated that requiring arcane or saint stage magic is needed to destroy it. Additionally, a devil's heart is not always located in the chest and could be shifted to different parts of the body. When a devil's heart is destroyed, its body disintegrates and they finally experience death, which according to devils is extremely rare for them to even lose a fight, as Nama and Lilith, for example, never felt fear, even the feeling of fear, for over 300 years or more. Now, to enjoy more peak fiction, watch this video about Hell's Paradise, where I break down the entire story of Gabimaru and you won't regret it.